Welcome back to Barbell Therapy. I am your host. I'm Kate, and I am super excited about getting into episode number 4 with you. First of all, it's kind of crazy that we are on episode 4. Like I said it a couple episodes ago, I have been trying to start this for years. So the fact that it has come to fruition, it's here, I could not be more excited. But on today's episode, we are going to talk about a couple of different things that I have myself made some changes to live a healthier, happier 2024. But then also some things that I've heard from other people that may benefit you. And then the therapy part of this episode is we are going to go into just expectations of other people, boundaries, and things like that I think are really important. And I know I went over boundaries and stuff like that in the episode number 2, but I have a little bit of a different take on some things that have happened in my life. And I feel like I want to talk a little bit more about validating feelings and feeling invalidated and feeling like you are the villain in your story and how you can really try to kind of come out of that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so a couple of things that I have implemented in 2024. I actually got rid of all of our plastic Tupperware. I did a little bit of research. I heard a lot about microplastics actually on a different podcast. I don't even remember who it was with, but it was a podcast about toxicity in our blood, and this individual actually had BPA in their blood from using too many plastic containers. So what really happened, to be quite frank, is I was getting kind of the ick from the fact that plastic containers were keeping the color of tomatoes, fresh tomatoes or tomato sauce. And I was just kind of really getting the ick around that. And then I put a Tupperware in the microwave and it ended up kind of melting a little bit, which it was maybe 2 minutes. And I was a little freaked out by that. And then we got rid of all the plastic and I got some silicone ones and my food started tasting rubbery. And I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So then we just moved straight up to glass containers. I think the tops are still plastic, but you got to start somewhere. So that's definitely one thing that we did. And then the next thing is I got rid of all deodorant that had aluminum and parabens in it. These are just things that clog your pores. And honestly, I didn't even realize this, but the shampoo and conditioner I live and swear by has changed the texture of my hair. And it's all of this free, aluminum, paraben, whatever. And then I had been doing a lot of research and I suffer from hyperhidrosis. So I have overactive sweat glands. And when I feel like a lot of people feel this way and they think about themselves and they're like, oh my gosh, I have overactive sweat glands. But when I tell you, I was in high school and it would be 20 degrees outside, snowing, and I would wear a long sleeve shirt or even a t-shirt. I would be drenched in sweat, sweat rolling down the sides of my body. It was incredibly bizarre. And so I was like, this is not normal. So I went to the doctor, ended up having hyperhidrosis, and I got Botox in my arms to reduce my sweat glands, and it's way better now. But I was doing some research, and when you clog your sweat glands, that is also what makes you sweat a little bit more. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give this a shot. So I did. And the stank was real for a while. I'm not even going to lie to you. But after, honestly, it probably took about 6 weeks for it to just kind of start going away. And now I really only smelly sweat when I'm stressed about something. So it's not that bad. I will say that I do wash my sweatshirts a little bit more and my coats a little bit more cognitively because sometimes I'd be stress sweating in my coats and it's a smelly sweat. So just things like that. And yeah, I feel a little bit lighter. I don't even know how to describe it, but I do feel that has made a pretty significant difference. So that's one thing, or I guess the second thing. And then a change that we haven't made yet, but I am excited to make, is on that, a couple of things. On that same track as microplastics, we're going to be getting rid of like our tube toothpaste and going with one of those toothpaste that you can just kind of like bite into and it creates a foamy whatever. And yeah, so that comes in a glass container. It's super sustainable and reduces the amount of waste in our world, and I am really all about that. And so that's one thing that's down the pipe, I would say. And then the other thing that I'm really excited about is hopefully we will be upgrading to stainless steel pots and pans. And the reason that I want to do this is because we currently have nonstick, which, by the way, we've been using our pots and pans for 2 years. Did not know that they were nonstick, so we've been spraying olive oil and stuff on them, and you shouldn't do that. Anyway, the reason I want to move away from nonstick and go with stainless steel is because I do think that the nonstick, it's not really like FDA regulated, and so it's just like these chemicals that are kind of like in there, and they don't really need to be, I would say. So I'm excited to kind of like get rid of those and just use olive oil and spray and just, reduce the possibility that we are putting toxins in our bodies via our pots and pans. This is not super easy because stainless steel is incredibly expensive in my opinion. But it is something that is like kind of timely because we have our wedding coming up. So hopefully, whether it's on the registry or it's just an upgrade that we make, like, it's just a little bit timely, I would say. So I am excited about that change coming down the pipe. So another thing that I have been doing is, rather than just letting caffeine kind of take over my life, I have not only started having like a handful of raspberries or part of my breakfast before having a cup of coffee, but I've also reduced my coffee intake significantly. I really try to only have 1 cup of coffee per day, and if I do have more, I try to make it decaf. And the reason for this is just because, like, it's not that people can't live off of caffeine or like caffeine is going to kill you. I mean, there's a lot of research, and honestly, nutritional research in general is just a hot mess because it's really difficult to get to the science behind each individual body and like what happens with people. And like, your lifestyle factors play such a vital role in so many aspects of your life that like you can do a study with people about coffee, but if one exercise is more than the other, or different types of exercise could influence, like, there are so many different ways that we can be influenced nutritionally via our lifestyle that it's very difficult to have like a very like detailed study, in my opinion, and from the research and the experts that I have been following for years. So I say all that to say that I do think that coffee can add a lot of anxiety, and I wouldn't say like it'll dehydrate you by having a cup of coffee a day, but having high caffeine intake throughout the day can lead to a little bit of dehydration on a consistent basis, I guess I would say. So I try to only have a cup of coffee a day, and if I need that taste, because I do love me the taste of coffee, I try to make it decaf. And eating breakfast before having it has just like kind of reduced my anxiety and helps my stomach actually be able to absorb the coffee a little bit better. So I am all about that. Now, this daily lifestyle change I did make for probably 45 days, and then homegirl dropped it real quick because life got tough. So when you see people on the internet saying like they're super motivated, blah, 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 like, they probably are, but we all go through these little rough patches. So I need to get started back on this again. And hopefully by the time that you're hearing this, I have started again, because like me talking about it should amplify this. But daily 15-minute walks with a task in mind. So for me, that's like doing stuff for my business. So like reaching out to clients, reaching out to potential clients, things like that. Because I feel like for me, one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to getting on the treadmill and going for a walk is that like my brain is like, no, you should be doing this, this, and this. Like you have all these other things that you need to be doing. You cannot be focusing on these walks. And so I need like a task to do during these walks so I feel productive. So daily 15-minute walks with a task in mind. Is another healthy lifestyle habit that I've created in 2024 that I need to get back to. And then last but not least, and I think this one is incredibly important and something that I've been incorporating in my life more and more and more, but just really with this new position that I have at my new college, I do think that like this is a way more attainable because the task, the habit is waking up and having at least a full hour before having to leave for work. So then that way I'm not rushing. And I say that this new position helps because the earliest, like last semester, the earliest I had to be at work was like 6:15 maybe. And at the time I only lived 15 minutes away. Now I live 25 minutes away, so it would change that a little bit. But previously I had to be at work at like 5:30 in the morning. And when you're waking up at 4:30, like that is the bare minimum time. Homegirl was waking up as late as possible to get to work by 5:30 in the morning, because then I was also there until like 3 to 4:30 p.m. and that's a whole other story. But the sense of like waking up and not rushing and having time in the morning to like get ready has also helped me be able to do skincare in the morning, which is just something I'm not that person. So like having that time to be able to complete that routine and just like not like running into my closet and throwing on clothes and running down the stairs and hoping for the best and grabbing all the stuff and heading in my car. Like I just needed a slower morning. And I think that slower morning has really increased my productivity throughout the day and allowed me to be more active in general because I don't feel so chaotic and it doesn't take me so long to calm down from the morning. So I would highly recommend being able to add that into your morning. That my athletes have definitely started doing, and like I've been seeing this all over Instagram, is people have been keeping their phone on do not disturb. I honestly just have a lot of anxiety with that because like I don't have that many people contacting me in general. And then with my business, like the fact that I work full time and I have my business, I don't really have the opportunity to just like not answer, because to be honest with you, like there are times where I'm sitting at my desk at work, like not doing anything, but those times change and they kind of vary. So if I have my phone on do not disturb and my clients are texting me, I want to be able to get back to them because I do have the time to be able to do that. And it's going to be at different times each day. So for me, I just am not afforded this opportunity, but I do think this is an incredibly awesome thing that you can do where like at work during productive hours, you can turn your phone on do not disturb. Or if you're at home watching a movie or doing something, like just putting your phone on do not disturb does not allow notifications to come in, and then therefore you don't have that instant gratification of needing to check that notification in general. So obviously there's different options for do not disturb, and you can like change the settings and get notifications from one, not the other, whatever it is. So you can always do that. But I do think this is an incredible opportunity if you can add this into your lifestyle. So putting your phone on do not disturb and just like being on it a whole heck of a lot less. And now I say that knowing farewell that my livelihood depends on you being on your phone and looking on Instagram and listening to this podcast. But at the same time, I am looking out for your health and I have your best interest in mind. So I want to make sure that I do tell you that. Okay, so now I really want to get into like the therapy part of this podcast. I feel so silly saying that because I'm like not a medical professional or a therapist or anything like that. And am I even allowed to say that? I don't know. I'm not like giving you therapy. Whatever. Okay, so recently it has kind of like, and when I say recently, I mean like, I said this the day that I decided to record this podcast. I feel like a lot of people in my life in certain circumstances have made me feel like the villain. Like I am the villain in their story. And that has weighed on me more than I can even express. And it has manifested itself in me in so many different ways. And it's hard to even like describe because I'm not really like looking to throw anyone under the bus or make anyone feel bad or like have any of you guys point your fingers at anyone, because that's not the point of this. But there are people in my life that look at me and just think like, oh, she's a bitch, or oh, you know, I don't even know what other words they use to describe me, and even if that description isn't necessarily there, like too emotional, too much, whatever it is, even if that description is not necessarily there, it's the way that they treat me that makes me perceive that of themselves. So like people that feel like I don't appreciate someone enough, or people that feel like I am taking somebody away from something, or that like I don't even know how to describe these things, but I have been the villain. And there are people that have said like I'm too emotional and I shouldn't need certain things like being a part of a conversation or being thought of when something is being planned, or you know, whatever it is. And like I have constantly looked at myself and been like, what is wrong with me? What do I need to change? Why don't these people like me? And what's kind of like come to fruition is it's not that these people don't like you, it's that they don't respect or know you well enough. And for me, like, it's so hard to even say, but I just feel like I have dedicated my life to becoming a better human being. And for myself, like I have dedicated my life to being in therapy and working on myself and holding myself accountable to be this person that I am proud of. And I stand here today. I am sitting actually crisscross applesauce. I am here today to tell you that like all of that work has paid off. I am incredibly proud of the woman that I have become and who I am. I'm incredibly proud of who I am to the people around me. I'm incredibly proud of the standards that I hold for myself and to people that choose to be in my life. And do I make mistakes? Absolutely. But I also think that in essence, I add a lot more value to people's lives than I ever get credit for. And the people who don't see the value that I add to their lives or to someone who they love's lives are the people that I need to stop letting get to me and make me feel like I'm not good enough, because I am good enough. And I want you to know that you are too. And just because someone doesn't like you, just because someone doesn't see the best version of you all the time, just because that person is making you feel like a villain does not mean that you are. And people tend to take things at face value and not really look deeper into the circumstance or whatever it is. And like, they just forget that there are so many more layers to an individual, to a relationship, to, you know, whatever it is that they can't see all of the time. And so they make these assumptions and they treat people with these assumptions and create these perspectives and this narrative in my head or your head that you aren't good enough or you are label here. And it's just simply not true, especially if you're someone like me who's like been in therapy and done a lot of work with the people around them to ask them, hey, did I do something to offend you? Hey, is everything okay? Are you checking in on the people around you? Are you actively thinking about people constantly and making sure that you're putting your best foot forward? Like, if you are doing all of those things, then you are a good fucking person. And the people that don't see that and continue to make you feel like a villain in your own life are not the people that you need to put your self-worth into. Those are the people that you need to say, You need to have hello and goodbye type conversations. And you need to just continue to be your best self and show up as you want to show up, but stop making the interactions and everything that you're doing around that person so volatile. And I mean volatile because you either go one of two ways when you're in these circumstances. You're either going to kind of like diminish or, dim your light or work really freaking hard to make that person like you in those moments. And then you're going to get disappointed 90 freaking % of the time. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Or you're going to just feel incredibly irritated and just not want to be around that person, and everything they do, whether it's good or bad, everything that they do is going to irritate you. So why would you continue to put yourself in these situations? And I'm not saying that you should cut these people out of your life, but you need to create a different relationship with those people and have a different perspective. So in that way, those two sides of you don't come out, because you're going to leave feeling exhausted no matter what after that interaction. You're going to be exhausted. So rather than allowing those people to take all of that from you, you need to find a way to kind of like back off and not feel so overwhelmed by them. And for me, this means just, again, not necessarily cutting them out, but changing that relationship, changing that dynamic so that my expectations of that person and my aura around them isn't so volatile for both you and me and them and everyone involved in the situation. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing that you can take away from this is to remember that everyone has work to do on themselves. We all have the ability to grow and develop. Nobody is perfect, and everybody should be allowed the space to learn and grow and hold themselves accountable and hold each other accountable to be a better individual. And the people that don't give you that room, they don't get to take your power away from doing it. And they don't get to make you feel like a villain. But the people that see you and see all that work that you're doing and cheer you on, those are the people that you need to put your whole heart into, because those are the people that are going to keep elevating you over and over and over again. And in this life, that's the type of support that we need, especially, honestly, everything that as a society we've been through at this point. Like, why keep giving life to the things that are going to keep draining you versus giving life to the things that are really elevating you and making you feel better? So I implore you to really take a look at those relationships that leave you feeling utterly exhausted, and find a way to change your expectations and your perceptions with those people in a way that will help you and them not feel so exhausted after each and every single encounter. And more than anything, what I want from you is to continue to grow, continue to develop, understand that you're not perfect. The people around you are not perfect. And you're going to be able to continue to grow, and you're going to make mistakes. And if you are the person that is making a valiant effort to learn from those mistakes and make up for them, and again, just be the best person that you can be, then who gives a fuck what those people have to say? You're not a villain. You are a badass bitch, and I believe in you. At the end of the day, a healthy lifestyle starts from within, and if you can't be your best and most authentic self, and you're constantly feeling upset, then you're not going to be able to achieve that anyway. So I hope you take away from this podcast everything that you need in order to be your badass self, be your most authentic self, and absolutely crush it, because I know that you can. And I can't wait to get into more touchy subjects with you on this podcast. So please, I would love a review. I would love some comments. I want to hear from you. I want to support you in the best way that I can. So let me know what I can do and what topics you want me to talk about next. And I will catch you next week.